Everyone is back in the game now, I believe. Yes, we do have everyone from Mono here, so this game should be starting shortly. This is Mono versus V8, the round of 4. Both of them already qualified for IPL4 Vegas. Right now it's primarily facing off for that finals match and who gets the free trip to Vegas. So actually we're in the champ select again, so we should go through these picks and bans pretty shortly, but we get to see, I guess, the rest of the comps and kind of figure out what they're going to be looking to accomplish. You did say that it might be that V8's trying to get more of that AoE engage, and then, with the strong mid of Rise, probably an aggressive jungler from Mono, who, someone like Rammus or Skarner or something that could, or Maokai. Skarner's actually a little bit
really
late,
well
so
Rise,
yeah, Maokai would work well.
Especially if you're thinking the enemy's going to run a heavy AoE team, you throw down Maokai's ult, and it's going to definitely negate a lot of that burst. And so I feel like Maokai would be a great pick. I don't know if they play Maokai or not. Assuming that, V8 picks up a lot of AoE damage.
And I guess it'll be important for Mono also to have kind of a strong top lane that can come down and help out. They are on the blue side, so to help make sure they have control of that blue buff for Rise.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I see Nocturne too.
Okay.
Nocturne's just...
Oh, wait, I was talking yesterday with I Will Dominate. He does still have that excellent clear speed, and then still a little bit more ganking potential than a farming jungler like Shyvana or Mundo.
Oh, Nocturne is definitely still a farming jungler. He farms really quickly.
Right.
He goes in lane, he clears lane really quickly as well. So he's just not as strong early game. His gank isn't as deadly, but once he does hit level 6, he definitely puts a lot of presence on the map.
So V8, if they are kind of trying to look for an AoE team, do you think that they might pick up Maokai now to prevent Mono from being able to take it? Actually, we might have a Skarner pick, so I guess that kind of nullifies that. But I guess, Skarner is a very aggressive jungler. Will be kind of difficult engaging on Rise, which would be the concern. So actually, Maokai is there, so that's probably going to make sense. So with the Maokai pick and Morgana, actually, so they are running into that AoE comp like you were saying.
Maokai's AoE damage, he's got a really good lockdown for that Corki. Morg definitely AoE damage too. And so I wouldn't be surprised if top is either a range AP or just a bruiser with an AoE damage component.
Yeah, and they do, Morgana against Rise is a fairly safe lane. I mean, it will generally be a farm lane you were talking earlier about. Rise's kill potential in lane basically kind of negated by, the defensive nature of Morgana as a champion.
I would like to know if it would be, like Trieskimo plays Morg and Takashi plays Rumble. Oh, it's too late. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so we did see Mono playing Jarvan yesterday. He is a very aggressive jungler. You can, kind of expect a level 2 gank or one of those quick early level ganks. And then he does have nice AoE damage. I guess, I don't know what... I've always kind of liked Jarvan as a jungler, but how would you say he compares to some of the other aggressive early junglers like Maokai, who also has, the AoE along with the lockdown?
The thing with Jarvan is his flag stun isn't guaranteed. Maokai's twist advance is. So, I mean, he can gank really, really early. Level 2 gank's definitely really, really scary. And so the reason why Maokai is just a safer pick is, 1, you can dodge the flag stun, and 2, you can flash it if you know you're going to get hit by it anyways. And so I feel like if Mono has Maokai, the Rise gank potential would be a lot stronger than with, say, Jarvan. But at level 6, Jarvan does have a really, really strong gank with his Cataclysm too, so no, that's a trade-off.
Yeah, and Rumble, is kind of a weak lane early in the game, does have a lot of snowball potential early on, so Irelia, definitely one of the strong top laners, will be able to potentially, try and zone him a little bit early. Do you expect we'll see lots of Maokai ganks up top lane to try and put Rumble behind? And since that's probably the most vulnerable lane.
You'll definitely see a lot of pressure top from Maokai and from Jarvan, just because it's going to be easier for Maokai Irelia to kill Rumble than it is for Rumble Jarvan to kill Irelia, just because, well, assuming this is pre-6, so...
Yeah.
But you know, it comes down to how the lane plays out too.
Yeah, and we do see that Irelia does have a lot of magic resist and then movement speed on Rumble, actually. So couple that with his W, it will allow him a little bit more potential at, escaping those lanes and not being chased down by, like, the Maokai. And then, of course, Irelia does have fantastic sustain, and that magic resist will allow her to, sit up against Rumble's AoE damage as the lane progresses. I guess for the other lanes, we do expect to kind of see a lot of aggression in that top lane. But the other lanes, would you expect those are primarily going to be farm lanes and more objective-oriented?
I feel like bottom lane for V8 is going to be constantly push lane. They're going to just keep on shoving it to the tower. What's that's going to do is it's going to pressure Paradoxical to come down from mid and gank them. If she's unsuccessful on the gank, it's going to allow Morg to just quickly clear the creep waves to tower. And Morg's going to be able to push that so much faster than Ryze can push back. So he's going to be denied every time he goes bottom. And also, when he comes back, he's going to fall behind and is just going to... If that happens, if Ryze goes and gank bottom and does not secure a kill, he's going to snowball himself in reverse. So I don't think he can snowball in reverse. He's going to allow V8 to snowball. And so that's also going to take off a lot of pressure from top if Jarvan is forced to go bottom to put pressure too. So if that's the case, it's going to make Rumble lose top lane too. So I feel like this is an easier game for V8 to play right than it is for Mono to play right.
So from the two teams, neither of them have really the strongest team at taking Dragon. Mono definitely, has a little bit of a speed advantage there with, Jarvan and then Corki. Do you think that that'll probably push back the, any kind of fights over Dragon a little bit later in the game, or?
I feel like for V8, since they do Dragon so slow, what they want to do is they just want to pressure it, have control over it, and not necessarily do it, because Maokai as a jungler does not do a lot of damage to Dragon, so he's not going to be able to force it early. He's not going to be able to just go in without the enemy not knowing and just give it really quick and back out. It's going to be more like of a long, drawn-out 20-second battle with Dragon instead of let's go in, go out within like 8 seconds. So you're not going to see a lot of aggression from V8 to initiate Dragon. But actually, neither team can do it that quick. You're only going to see... This is going to be a late Dragon game unless a team is able to secure a kill, which then they're open to take Dragon freely.
And both Rumble and Irelia are taking teleport, so that will, allow them both to have a little bit more control. We will be coming back in a second. V8 versus Mono in this IPL4 qualifier semifinals. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, once again I am the Red Baron at BaronCast. With me is Dan Din, and we are going to be taking a look at V8 versus Mono eSports. We did see Mono take down a number of top European teams, and they also beat TSM in the Killing Spree series this past Thursday, so it should be a pretty exciting matchup. We do see, I guess, neither team particularly strong in the early game. I was going to say Mono potentially, could come up and see if they could disrupt Maokai at all, but with the snare from Morgana and then the potential for a quick level for the root, I guess that's not something they really want to be walking into. So we'll probably see defensive play here, just allow Jarvan to get an early advantage, and it does seem like he might be starting up with this blue buff and potentially get an early gank top lane. Mono's actually moving up here, though. I don't know if this is just to make sure they can secure the blue buff or if they're actually planning on invading.
No, they're planning on invading. They're definitely planning on invading. It's not super strong because they do have a weaker team comp at this point, but since they are grouped together and V8 is it, they do have an advantage if something does break out. But the CV is going to push them back out of the jungle, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, they are pinging, though, up at the red buff, so they might head up there. In the meantime, V8 is going to be doing some counter jungling of their own, going to come over and potentially steal these Wraiths. Janna doing the ward there so that they know that they're not going to be walking into, Mono at any point in time. And that early red buff top on Jarvan could be, really strong against Irelia if he could chunk her early and allow Rumble an early lane advantage. That would definitely help them out a lot.
So actually, what V8 did was they counter jungled and did their own jungle at the same time. So they sent actually less people to do the counter jungling, so they don't lose out on as much. However, Mono is able to pick up red, which is a lot more than just Wraith. You know, they broke even in terms of the Wraith, but you know, having that red buff, it's gonna allow J4 to just aggressively gank top right away.
Yeah, and he is coming up into this top lane with that red buff, level 2, so he will have the pop-up from his EQ combo. Not a lot of follow-up damage from Rumble, so it will probably be pretty difficult for them to pick up a kill, but actually he's going to just, you know, walk away here. And Maokai going to come down into this bot jungle, expecting Jarvan's up there and see if he can maybe steal this red buff. I'm a little bit surprised. It seems kind of aggressive. I mean, you know, I guess if you do expect that the jungler is sitting up in the top lane, it does give you that potential. But I would generally think that Jarvan would be fast enough to come down here, but he is actually going to get it in time and not really, you know, face any danger there.
Oh, that's a free red. Ooh, bottom's gonna have a lot of pressure. I don't think there's a ward in that. Oh, there is.
So they do see Maokai backing up a little bit. But I guess we'll probably see, you know, like you said, some more aggressive pushing play from Janna and Graves. Just keep Corki up against that tower. And top lane early on, Rumble and Irelia doing pretty good there. Irelia does have, you know, a nice little bit of burst damage, as you can see. So I guess it'll be kind of interesting. At what point in time do you think Irelia is going to maybe start looking to be extremely aggressive against Rumble in this lane?
As soon as she gets, you know, a wit's end, she's gonna be able to just walk all over Rumble. Just because the MR that she's gonna get is just gonna be so huge. Rumble's gonna do so much less damage. She's gonna have a lot of lifesteal for potentially getting her Wriggles, and she's gonna have a lot of MR, and her W should have a lot of points in too. And so there's gonna be a gank up top right here. And I think Rumble is in a kill potential range. So.
Yeah, and there's the twisted advance from Michelangelo, going to probably be able to pick up this Rumble kill. Let's see how much damage he can do to Irelia, though. He is going to go down, so there's the first blood. And all this CS that, you know, Rumble's going to miss, and, you know, Donatello here, I don't know which is which, who V8's top lane is, but, you know, she will be at a significant early advantage there.
From my experiences, Tree Eskimo is usually top.
Oh, that's right, it is Tree Eskimo.
And then Takashi is a Morgana player, so.
But wow, a lot of burst damage from Aphromoo down here, going to be able to pick up the kill onto Corki.
Yeah, this is a really, really strong lane. The thing with...
oh no, Rumble's going to get picked off again. We do have the jungler coming in. There's the twisted advance. He does have the slow, and there's no flash from Rumble anymore. Oh, he actually did, so he didn't use the flash that last gank, just, you know, recognizing he was going down really quickly.
Yeah, the thing with him using his flash is Irelia never used her dash. So she was able to just save it and wait for it. She was actually waiting for Rumble to flash so she can dash on him. And so he knew that she was also waiting, so he kind of assumed he was dead. So he just didn't want to burn it anyways, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm dead for sure this time. I'm going to save my Sunrise spell, and I'm going to get away the next game.
But even so, that early pressure from Maokai, I'm, you know, kind of wondering, you know, what Jarvan's going to do to counteract that. We don't see a ward from him. I was kind of expecting maybe, you know, he'll go up top and try counter engaging with Maokai some of these times if Maokai's going to keep on pressuring that top lane.
Yeah, with the way the game's going, Jarvan is going to need to pressure all three lanes. And being one person, you're not going to be able to do that. It's just physically impossible. Just there's so much pressure mid, top, and bottom right now. Because bot, for V8, is just naturally a stronger lane. And also, up top, Aurelia's already gotten a kill, so she's ahead of Rumble. And at the same time, when he did want to gank top, Aurelia was staying way, way in the back, where it was impossible for J4 to gank. That's why he stood there for 15 seconds, and then he just left and continued jungling. And so, at this point, if bottom is pushing all the time, and mid is continually pushing, you know, J4 is going to be needed mid and bot. And now, Aurelia is winning against Rumble as well, so, you know, he's going to be at a loss for who to gank, because, you know, there's going to be pressure everywhere.
Yeah, and we do see Morgana also taking the Wraiths from both sides. That is one of her strengths, that AoE clearing, you know, does help her out some with counter jungling. But Jarvan coming down into this bottom lane, I'm not sure how much kill potential they have. I mean, they've got, plenty of damage, but against the defensive, play that Janna has, I would assume it'd be pretty difficult for him to get an engage here. Do you think it's just kind of, I don't know, a waste of his time here and maybe pressure some
I
of the
feel
other
like
lanes?
Graves already has an inkling that he's back there. That's why he's playing so passive. So I feel like it's just gonna waste Jarvan's time. Right now, you can probably hear V8 saying, if you're in their event, "Oh, J4 is there. Just let them waste their time," because he's not farming right now. And I think Janna just peeked in there and saw him too. So, and so basically, what J4 is. Oh, did he DC?
I don't know. So we'll have a short pause. Hopefully everything's sorted out. It shouldn't take that long to bring back the game. In the meantime, looking at the items, we did see that Irelia started off with 26 magic resist. She, does have defensive masteries as well, and then picking up 2 null mantles early in this game. So that early magic defense will allow her to be increasingly aggressive against Rumble, who is a little bit behind because of that 1 death. So I guess that should be pretty interesting how, that matchup kind of affects his potential in the game.
Yeah, the thought process between the double Nomato is he's going to be building Mertres anyways. He's going to be building Wits End anyways. And for any type of champion that has lifesteal, when you increase your resistance, you're basically increasing the effectiveness of your lifesteal. So that's the whole thought process behind getting resist. Because if you get more health and you get chipped down, when you heal back up, like every point that you heal just isn't as effective if you have a lot more MR.
So coming into this point in the game, we do have, blue buff should be spawning for, I guess, in another minute and a half. Jarvan did take it kind of slow in the beginning, but we do have the blue potentially coming over to Morgana. Do you think that, when when blue side's blue buff spawns in about a minute and a half, that, we might see some aggressive play from purple to try and control it and keep it off of Rise?
I feel at this point, if J4 is behind enough or he's DC, they might potentially do that. I don't see Maokai in the right position to do so because the blue is spawning in about. Ooh, I think it's got.
But it should have like a minute and a half, I think.
It's still got about a minute and a half. So Maokai probably will get blue for Morg right now. It's gonna probably go down within like 30 seconds. The time that it's gonna take Morg to get to blue, and then if he's gonna go steal their blue, he has to go straight over there. It's relatively safe if they know that J4 is bottom because now it's 3v2 up at their blue. So it's gonna depend on if J4 reposition. He's gonna have a lot of time to do that. But if he's gonna remain bottom and V8 knows that, it's gonna be a free or a lost blue for V8 and a lost blue for Mono.
Yeah, and also, Rumble, his teleport is down. So, if Irelia can get him kind of low, still being aggressive in this lane, then that, could give them another advantage. Though I guess at the same time, if Rumble does keep up his health and has that, kill potential with his ultimate, that'd be kind of a scary situation to, counter jungle into.
In terms of like ganking top, at this moment, top lane is pressing. So Maokai doesn't have a lot of kill potential top, even though in terms of damage, they can probably kill him, but at this point, they're going to have to dive Rumble to secure the kill, so it's not worth it for Maokai to gank right now. If the lanes are push, it's more worth it to just farm. If J4 remains bottom, it's better for Maokai to go bottom and pressure, because if V8's already ahead bottom and a 3v3 fight breaks out, it could be a potential positive upturn for V8. Say, even if they lose 2 and they get 3, it would be worth it for V8.
Well, we, of course, are having some difficulties, but hopefully everything, will be back shortly. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure to check us out at youtube.com/IPLLOL. As always, I'll plug us all day. And then also send us in your awesome replays, your really cool, just best of the best highlights to IPLLOLreplays@gmail.com. Coming into the mid-game, I don't know, not that far from here, what do you kind of expect to see in fights? Because we do see, Irelia is doing pretty well. We will have nice AoE damage from Morgana, but at the same time, Rise is, very strong. We do have great AoE damage from Jarvan and from Rumble combined.
Yeah. Basically, I feel about if a fight breaks out, Maokai is going to twist advance priority target, and everybody's just going to unload right away on V8. And in terms of team fighting potential at this point, V8, not only do they have a better team fight comp, at this point in the game. There are also more farms, so Mono needs to be able to gank before they secure objectives. You don't want an even fight right now. You don't want to group up as 5 and just clash because they're probably gonna lose. What Mono's gonna have to do if they're gonna make a move is they would need to either pick off 1 or 2 people before they can force an objective. If they can pick off 1, they can force an objective and force a 5v4 fight, which they can come out ahead on. So it's not as simple as, oh, we just need to be in the right place at the right time anymore. It's just, well, you need to set up something before just grouping up and setting up being in the right place in the right time again later.
Rumble does have, really good pickoff potential. Same thing with Rise, with, Jarvan. Corki has that damage. But then at the same time, they are, kind of a little bit of a tankier team. Irelia, of course, will be extremely tanky, and Maokai just naturally tanky. But if V8, like you said, they are going for kind of that single target focus burst, with Irelia, with Maokai jumping on someone. And then we have, Soraka, if Mono can, I guess pick up some early tanking items on some of their, champions, then they will have a lot of potential in those longer sustained fights, I would think.
I feel like V8, they're not really looking for a single target burst. It's more of like, I'm going to pick off one person and we're going to just AoE everybody else as well. That one target is going to die just from the AoE and everybody else is going to be really low, so.
Right. Well,
so
this should...
So you think Nintendo's power went out again?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It feels like it because when Janna peeked the brush, J4 didn't respond. So, what you would naturally do is you either stun him or you run. He's clearly not in the position to flag stun Janna because his team's too far, and he'd probably die if he did it. And since he saw Janna, he knew that Janna was in there, it's just going to be a waste of time to be there. You just want to reposition, get out, and do whatever else you need to do because at this point, you're going to think, oh, gank on bottom is not viable anymore. They know I'm here. I'm not going to get a good jump on them.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, you do have a nice long pause period, but if Nintendo is having issues, then, the already strong team that V8 has, basically be impossible for Mono to take this game if it turned into a 4v5 kind of situation. But hopefully he can figure it out, and we'll have him back shortly. Looking at the rest of the items, we see Janna picking up the early pink ward that will allow them to kind of control the brush there if Soraka's, warding or whatever, which kind of goes along with their kind of aggressive lane, like you said, and, potentially trying to push that lane. Jarvan starting off with, some Dorans, so not going like a Wriggles build, which would help his jungling. He is kind of a little bit slow in the jungle compared with a number of other champions, but will have a lot of potential burst damage with that the physical damage from his, all of his abilities.
I feel like he's still going Wriggles. He's just having that D-Blade in there just for some extra damage and some extra health. The thing is, he knew he had enough gold to buy maybe an item and a half, and he wasn't going to finish his Madrid, so he just bought what he felt would be the best item, because you can't buy a Vamp Scepter, or you can buy a Vamp Scepter, or you can build a longsword for 10 damage. Now you just like, alright, I'm just going to go a little bit, a mix of both, get some health, some lifesteal, some damage.
Coming into the, as Rise starts to get, some of his items, he will be extremely tanky. With the engages that Irelia is going to be looking to do, how do you think that their team will be working against that with Rise snaring Irelia to try and kind of back up, get off a little burst damage, and, kite some?
What's going to basically happen is once Morg is in the middle of everybody, I feel like Rise is going to be more, prone to nuking down Morg's shield and keeping her in place so everybody can get out, rather than just snaring Aurelia. That would be a better target for Rise. And Aurelia is just really, really good at chasing down Corki. I feel like, to me, Aurelia is a natural counter to Corki. And she's actually counters a lot of AP caster too, just because how much MR she gets, how much lifesteal she gets, and just the CC reduction as well.
Well, this is This is fun, I guess. I'm like, I don't know what to say here. I won't. I know. I won't say that. Commercial. All right. Well, actually, we have Nintendo reconnecting, so hopefully it unpauses in a second here. Oh, there we go. So we have a game again. Perfect. Yeah, we have the touchdown celebration from Alex here, but Jarvan is going to back off, and Morgana potentially going to grab this blue. Not sure whether or not Maokai will pass it off. I would assume he would. But wow, aggressive play by Janna. Going to get off some damage onto Corki. Heal will help sustain him some. What do you expect that, what we'll kind of see? We had talked about it for, I guess, a while, I guess. But what do you expect to see from both teams, coming up and how they want to kind of progress the game? Oh, wow, Corki just going down with the great burst that Janna and Graves have.
Thing is, he's died once already, so one, he's going to be behind in level. When you're behind in level, you have less HP because you get about 100 per level. And two, the enemy is also higher level than you. That means you have less HP and they're doing more damage. Especially Graves when he hits level 6. Not only is he getting the scaling damage, but he's also got another nuke. So that adds a lot more damage burst that he's going to have.
And with how aggressive they've been being in this bottom lane, that pink ward from Janna, will allow Maokai to potentially get in some ganks. Jarvan coming up here sees that his red is not clearing, so he's expecting, I'm assuming, that they had pulled it. They're actually going to back off for a second here, but Maokai's here, so they should be able to finish that. But do you expect that, we might see some more aggressive ganks from Maokai down bottom, along with the kill potential that Graves has?
Oh yeah, of course. There's going to be ganks all over the place for Maokai now, just because everybody on mono is slightly behind, and so when people are behind, junglers can gank better, and when junglers are ahead, they also gank better. So, he's already secured a kill earlier, getting some extra gold. So here's Rise top now. So.
Yeah, and he's going to be chasing down Irelia there. There's the slow, and then the flash in from Rise. They're going to get off a ton of burst damage there. She will flash over, but she has the Ignite. She should be able to get out of there, though. We won't have them coming in, but we actually have Morgana and Maokai here coming in, trying to get a little bit of a counter gank if Rise comes down into this, river area, but he's not going to. I'm a little bit surprised that Maokai held on to the red buff as opposed to giving it to Graves. Do you think that... that's just to go along with because they're ahead, want to have those aggressive ganks?
No, it was nothing like that. It was just that J4 was in that brush and he was waiting to smite red. Yeah. And so, do I want to wait until it's 100 hit point for Graves to nuke it down, which J4 can potentially smite and steal anyways, or should I just take it and guarantee that he can't take it?
And we do have Morgana coming down, and they don't have any vision, so... She does have flash, I believe. Yes, she does. So she will be able to get an ultimate, most likely. Here she's coming, and they're actually both going to get caught here. There's the whirlwind, the ultimate bursting down Soraka almost immediately, and then the snare is going to be able to pick up Morgana.
I feel like that Graves flash is unnecessary. But it was a good measure in case Morgana missed her binding. But this is actually a free dragon for V8 right now. Despite how slow they are at doing dragon, if there's nobody to contest it, it's a free dragon.
And we do have Maokai coming up and then stealing the blue buff, and Jarvan is going down quickly. Rise is there to back him up, but now he's in danger. We will have them chasing, but there's no mana on Maokai currently, so they are going to back off. And we do have the dragon going down for V8 in a second here, which will continue their early game lead. If you were mono at this point, what are you kind of looking to do to try and turn the tides? I understand you want to farm a lot. Ward control would be good. What are your goals right now?
Oh, they just need aggressive ganking now, right? They need to be able to pick people off and take towers. If they're not going to be able to do that, then they're not going to be able to close the gold gap, and V8's just going to keep on extending that gold advantage because in terms of pushing lane, Morg is just so much better. It's going to keep Rise at tower, and so Rise is going to lose some CS periodically. And now Irelia is going to be tanky enough where Rumble can't kill her anymore. And she's got red buff as well. That means that Rumble's not going to be able to get away. And she's got Wit's End too. So I feel like at this point, if Rumble overextends just a little bit, Irelia is going to be able to just solo kill him over and over.
Yeah, and we don't see a lot of wards from either team. I was actually kind of wondering whether or not we might expect to see an Oracles from Maokai, since they do have pretty good map control right now, to just kind of continue laying on the pressure. Is that something? Oh, we do have an Oracle, so there you go. I was about to say, is that something that you would kind of expect to see from V8 at this point?
The thing with oracles is if you're winning already, you get an oracles, you can clear all the wards, put a lot more pressure on them, and that's exactly what V8's doing. They're putting more pressure and opening up a lot more gank potential with that oracles. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get an oracles and potentially die. You might still have to get it anyways when you're behind, just because you need to be able to clear wards and make big moves. But at this point, I just feel it's way too safe for V8, and it's
and the snare, and then the Morgana ultimate, followed up by the twisted advance from Maokai, and we will have Rise going down shortly. He's actually going to be able to get the... Nope. He's going to go down. He did have his flash. I was a little bit surprised he didn't just hop over this wall here once he got to that point, but I guess he was concerned that, you know, he would just waste it and they would flash after him anyway. But an early tower for Graves and Janna down here will, you know, continue that kind of aggressive map control.
He could have potentially gotten away, Rise. The thing with Maokai is he didn't want to get the kill, so he actually stopped DPSing on Rise. And so I feel like it would just be worth it for Maokai to just finish him off and not even risk someone getting away. But I guess it worked out in the end anyways.
And then the blue buff shared onto Morgana. She's, you know, they already have that kind of lead. Will allow her to continue counter jungling. They have been kind of like warding down at these wraiths all day and stealing those wraiths to slow down Jarvan a little bit. And he's actually, even with Maokai, but Maokai's definitely been able to be a lot more aggressive. And Irelia, with that red buff, is chasing down Rumble. He is going to slow her and try and get away, but another Equilibrium Strike will be able to do it. She actually flashes after him and is throwing the Transcendent Blades, able to pick up the kill and going to back off there.
Yeah, so at this point, Aurelia is just going to be able to constantly chase Rumble. Once she gets that Merc Shreds, it's over for Rumble. He can't even get away because with Aurelia's passive and with Merc Shreds, his little missile thingy that slows people isn't going to do enough where you can close or extend the distance far enough where Aurelia can't dash back on you when the cooldown comes up.
And V8 coming down here, we actually do have a snare going off, not going to be able to hit Rise. But trying to be, you know, really aggressive once again, counter jungling here. Dragon shouldn't be up for another 2 minutes, so there's no potential there. But the early towers and top, you know, also pretty close to going down, you know, will definitely allow them to kind of roam around and start taking control of Mono's jungle, which is kind of what we're seeing.
So just at this point, V8's just so far ahead. What they want to do is they just want to continue to take every single tower that's on the outside. I think they got 2 of them. There's just 1 left, so it's probably going to drop pretty soon. Maokai might just... If Maokai can get a good gank off and get 1 or 2 people, they're going to be in position to do Baron in like 3 minutes or so, just because they are so far ahead that they've gotten enough damage this early on to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like an 18, 19-minute Baron.
Which is kind of surprising, I mean, because they, you know, don't really have a team that I would normally say is a strong early Baron team. But like you said, with the early advantage, do you think that it'd be more worth it to pressure those kind of objectives since they want to force fights? Or is that just kind of too risky that if it allows Mono an opportunity to kind of throw down all of their AoE with Jarvan and with Rumble and potentially get back into the game?
I feel like what's going to happen is V8's going to play a little bit safe after they take top tower. What they want to do is they want to get the second dragon and potentially force a fight there. It's a lot safer to force a dragon fight than it is a Baron fight at this point. Because if you lose too much HP doing Baron, you might throw the game. So it's a lot safer to just, you know, play a little bit safer and go for the dragon, force that fight instead.
And we do have this engage here. Maokai is going to come in, and he's getting a little bit of damage from Rise, but Jarvan should be able to go down, flashes out, so they are going to back off. Morgana's ultimate is down, and Rumble's pretty low here. Irelia chasing him out, so they are once again going to be able to steal this blue buff and just, you know, continue pressuring
I wouldn't be surprised if Aurelia gets this blue buff.
And they are kind of, you know, poking back and forth here, trying to see if they can get an engage. Maokai with the twisted advance onto Rise, and he is probably going to go down, missing the flash, trying to get over the wall, so he's going to go down. And now Corki's definitely in a bad position, gets snared, and that's another 2 kills. See, that's the thing. It's so early in the game that it feels like there's, you know, they should be taking a Baron here. It's 5v3, but it's only 16 minutes in, so even with this huge advantage,
I guess they're in no rush. They can just take tower. It's still relatively dangerous because the death timer is so short. You know, you kill somebody, you have an expectation they're not going to be back for 30 seconds. But, you know, Mono's already back within 2 seconds, 2 more seconds.
But after taking that tower, they will be able to come down and take this dragon. Already a 9K gold advantage. They'll bump it up to 10K, and Irelia going to come up and continue farming. No big deal. She's got her teleport.
Yeah, she's going to be able to get a lot of gold from top right now. She's probably just going to ult that, kill it. Try and push tower ASAP, go back and buy. Then they can start forcing Baron, because I feel like that last team fight with Dragon and that huge wave and tower added together, Irelia is going to be really, really, really big. And I really don't see an answer to Irelia from Mono at this point. You know, she's gotten to the point where she can just run in the middle of everybody and life steal all her health back and just have her team decimate everybody.
And because of how successful Irelia has been, and Morg as well, they both are going to be extremely tanky. We do have the Rod of Aegis on Morg. So with all of that gold, she's actually, probably going to be building towards, Rabadons or Azonias as well. They will be able to kind of sustain through that AoE damage that Mono offers, and potentially kind of bully them out of these fights that Mono might otherwise maybe be able to sneak out a couple of kills.
Yeah. I feel like this V8's just too far ahead. If they're gonna lose this game, they're gonna have to throw really hard. And V8 is a good enough team to not throw an advantage this big.
But I get, again, it's just really impressive play by V8. They started off with an early advantage. Great pressure by Maokai is, primarily where it came in. And I don't know, just able to kind of snowball this game very early. They are pinging Dragon. They do have the Oracles, so they can clear the wards and then, potentially get Mono out of position, have like a sneak attack in one of those brush. But the Clairvoyance should help them avoid those kind of situations. Mono pushing this tower, is this, just what they kind of need to do at this point? They need to force a really hard engage and just see what they can do as a team, or?
They're not really trying to force an engage. What they're hoping for is for Mono to be out of position so they can give that tower and close that gold gap, because if they don't make plays right now, they're just going to fall further and further behind. And they're hoping to get a free tower, rotate, get another free tower.
We do have the Shirelias from Maokai. There's the Twisted Advance onto Jarvan, and then the Snare, so he's going to go down. The Flash and Ultimate from Morgana, chasing after the rest of the team. Corki flashes out of there, but Rumble's going to go down, as well as Soraka, and that's a huge advantage, once again, for V8, and this could be a Baron with that 5v2 advantage, so they are going to head up there, and I don't know, just basically end the game pretty shortly.
I'm a little off. I said 19 minutes. It's 1950.
Yeah. But I don't know, I guess coming into game number 2, assuming that V8, is able to keep with this lead, which I would assume would be the case, what do you kind of expect to see from Mono differently? Because it's kind of surprising to me that Jarvan, wasn't really able to get involved with the game. He did have some DC issues. But actually, the Snare is almost going to pick up Rise. He's going to flash away. But what would you expect to see differently coming into game number 2?
Differently, I just felt like Mono got outpicked. V8 knew exactly what they're going to go for, and they just counterpicked it, right? And I felt like V8 had the right comp, and since Mono kind of doesn't really have a strong team comp overall, they're just not going to perform well. And it's when you know what the enemy is going to do, and they kind of play around in the same vicinity of team comps that they have been, it's very, very easy to develop a single strat to just counter everything.
So we do have V8 kind of split pushing here. Irelia does have that teleport, so she's going to be able to take down some things. And Morgana coming in with the ultimate. The Twisted Advance from Maokai will be able to pick up that Corki kill, actually just barely surviving. And Jarvan jumping onto Raphael here. He's going to go down really quickly, so they are able to grab the Janna. Graves will pick up the Jarvan kill.
That was just very, very...
yeah, last-ditch effort.
No, it's more of V8 messing up because they were too confident.
Yeah.
They felt like, oh, we're going to win anyways. Let's just, let's get really aggressive and just dive this. And they shouldn't have done that, but it's going to work out anyways just because the advantage is too big at this point.
So able to pick up the kill on Soraka there and then push down this tower. Inhibitor should be falling shortly. They are going to back out in the meantime because they're all kind of low on mana as well in Graves. But this next push, will almost certainly grab that inhibitor. Irelia coming up here, trying to see if she can get an engage on anyone. are there any champions that you might expect V8 to or Mono to ban differently, or maybe leave open some of those tanky bruisers and see if they could maybe try running one of those kind of comps?
Just trying to get into Mono's mind right now. I feel like they're thinking, damn them, they took my Janna Graves. So they're going to try and pick that up a lot earlier. Or just pick up Graves at least a lot earlier. I could potentially see that happening next game.
Well, they did seem to do pretty well bottom lane. Graves definitely had the advantage in that lane, but V8 did very well. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
So if they could pick up that lane back from V8, not have that kind of killing potential, we have seen V8 run a lot of Graves recently as well. That could help Mono a lot. But I guess, I don't know, the big concern is they lost all the lanes, and then the pressure from Maokai. So do you think that, there's just too many aggressive junglers, you can't really ban the junglers, or?
It was even the jungler to be, well, the jungler did make it a difference. It wasn't the jungle that won the game this game. I felt like all three lanes are capable of just winning their lane and pushing continually. And so, except for top in the early game, so J4 was actually pressured to gank top. Or if you're going to gank, he has to gank top, but he was pressured by mid and bottom to go gank because the lanes are so pushed. So it created some safety for Rally up top as well.
Yeah, and I think this is basically GG. V8 coming in and going to be taking these Nexus turrets. The ultimate from Rumble does go off, but not really going to do anything. So congratulations to V8 taking game one of this best of three. Really impressive play early on. Is there any kind of thing that you kind of took from it as far as V8's play style that you're like, oh, well, this is maybe something that we as a team will try and do differently against them in the future?
Oh, this is a type of team comp that I've seen V8 ran before. So I wasn't surprised when I thought that they're going to pick up an AoE team comp to counter what Mono was going to do, because they already had this type of team comp in their arsenal. So it's very easy to just pick it right back up and use it against Mono. So it's not like a new team comp to V8. They've been using this and practicing it in their scrim.
Right.
What they did was they took away what Mono is strong with. They banned the champions that they felt Paradoxico strong with, and they took away the Graves Janna bottom lane, and just taking those two elements away from Mono, they're able to just completely gimp their play overall.
Right. Well, congratulations to V8 picking up game number one. We'll be back shortly. This is the IPL4 qualifiers. Once again, I'm the Red Baron at Baroncast. Thank you, Dan. It was a pleasure. AJ is going to be in here for this next upcoming game. I'd like to remind everyone, check us out, youtube.com/IPLLOL. We have lots of cool League of Legends stuff, cool interviews. We will be posting some more throughout the week. And then, make sure to send us in your best highlights, IPLLOLreplays@gmail.com. We also have the Facebook contest, facebook.com/IGN Pro League, still going on. Tonight is when it's all decided. We will be giving away 5 $25 RP cards. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Congratulations to V8 for game number one, and we'll be back shortly after this commercial break.